Hello everyone, welcome back to the Global Alert TV channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today's report covers one of the most intense and surprising developments in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. The title speaks for itself. A Ukrainian drone strike has destroyed Russia's largest gas plant located in the Orenburg region, igniting a massive fire that burned through the night. This event marks a turning point in modern warfare and raises critical questions about technology, strategy, and the balance of power between two nations locked in conflict for nearly 3 years. The situation in Orenburg has captured global attention not only because of the sheer scale of the explosion but also because of the depth of Ukraine's strike capabilities that managed to reach hundreds of kilometers into Russian territory. From the exterior, the images emerging from Orenburg paint a grim yet extraordinary picture. The once highly secured Gazprom gas processing complex, surrounded by layers of industrial fencing and high-end security systems, now stands as a smoking ruin under the gray Russian sky. Massive flames engulfed storage tanks and pipelines, sending plumes of black smoke billowing miles into the air. The sound of secondary explosions echoed through the industrial district, shaking windows in nearby residential areas. Witnesses described the night sky turning orange as the blaze intensified, lighting up the horizon like a volcanic eruption. Emergency response teams rushed to the site, their sirens blending with the deep roar of fire-consuming fuel reserves. Russian state media tried to downplay the damage initially, but satellite imagery quickly revealed the extent of the destruction, large sections of the plant's main processing units reduced to twisted steel and melted concrete. For Russia, this is not merely an industrial accident, it is a psychological and economic blow, one that exposes vulnerabilities deep within the heart of its energy empire. Moving to the interior, here lies the most complex and devastating part of this story. Inside the Gazprom plant were some of the most sophisticated gas processing systems in Eastern Europe, designed to handle millions of cubic meters of natural gas per day. The facility served as a crucial node in Russia's domestic energy network and export chain. The precision of the strike is remarkable. Experts suggest that Ukraine's drone navigated through multiple layers of Russian air defense systems, including radar jamming zones and anti-aircraft batteries. It reached the target at an altitude and trajectory that made interception nearly impossible. Inside the plant, workers reported hearing the drone seconds before the impact. The explosion tore through the main control units and high-pressure pipelines, instantly shutting down operations. Interior visuals released by Russian firefighters show burned-out machinery, collapsed beams, and rivers of melted aluminum running through the ground floor. This interior destruction highlights how vulnerable even the most fortified industrial systems are in the age of unmanned warfare. The performance of the Ukrainian drone used in this strike has become a major talking point among defense analysts. Reports indicate that it was a long-range, GPS-guided, stealth-modified drone capable of traveling over 800 kilometers without detection. Unlike earlier generations, which were mostly modified commercial drones, this one appears to be part of Ukraine's new domestically produced long-range fleet, possibly built in collaboration with Western partners. The performance efficiency of this drone is not just in distance or payload but in accuracy and evasion. It reportedly carried a high-explosive warhead of around 50 kilograms and hit within a few meters of its intended target point, a level of precision that suggests advanced guidance technology. This performance illustrates how Ukraine has transformed its defensive war strategy into an offensive technological campaign. Each new strike showcases a deeper integration of artificial intelligence, satellite coordination, and field-level intelligence gathering. As a result, the Orenburg attack demonstrates not only power but adaptability, the ability to strike where Russia least expects and to paralyze critical operations with minimal resources. When examining safety features, or rather the failure of them in this case, it becomes evident that Russia's industrial defense mechanisms were not equipped to handle aerial drone threats of this sophistication. The Orenburg gas plant was designed to withstand internal explosions, leaks, and even cyber attacks, but not a direct, high-speed drone strike carrying military-grade explosives. Fire suppression systems within the complex activated immediately after the blast, but the fire's intensity overwhelmed the automated sprinklers and foam cannons. Gas lines ruptured under extreme heat, fueling secondary explosions that spread the blaze to nearby storage units. Safety crews fought for hours, and though dozens of lives were saved through emergency evacuation, the facility itself could not be protected. Ironically, the same sealed infrastructure meant to contain gas pressure turned into a trap, allowing the fire to concentrate and burn hotter. This incident reveals how the future of safety in industrial warfare must evolve. Traditional firewalls, security cameras, and fences cannot protect against aerial or AI-driven threats. Defense experts argue that Russia and other nations must now redesign industrial safety systems with aerial defense protocols in mind. Radar domes, laser interceptors, and autonomous security drones could become standard in the coming years. Unique selling points in this context relate to Ukraine's technological innovation and tactical adaptability. The real USP of this operation was stealth. Ukraine managed to launch and navigate a drone over an incredible distance deep inside Russian territory without triggering early warning systems. Analysts suggest the drone used a combination of terrain-hugging flight paths and radar-absorbing material to remain undetected. Another unique element was the timing of the attack, late at night when Russia's surveillance coverage is typically reduced and maintenance cycles are underway. This calculated precision is what differentiates Ukraine's modern drone strategy from early, more experimental strikes. Furthermore, the psychological impact of striking an energy facility of such magnitude cannot be overstated. This was not just about physical damage but about sending a message: Ukraine's reach is growing, and no infrastructure is beyond its capability to hit. It also places significant pressure on Moscow's military leadership to reconsider their defensive posture and energy resource protection. The world has seen many wars fought with bombs, missiles, and tanks, but few where drones have rewritten the rulebook so dramatically. This is one of those moments in history where a smaller nation's technological creativity outmaneuvers the raw might of a global power. If we were to discuss the price, not in commercial terms but in geopolitical and economic value, the numbers are staggering. Analysts estimate that the Orenburg gas plant's damage could cost Gazprom and the Russian government over $1 billion in immediate losses, not including long-term production delays. The gas plant was one of the main suppliers feeding into Russia's domestic network and export contracts toward Europe and Asia. With production halted indefinitely, this will disrupt both revenue streams and international commitments. The repair and reconstruction of such a massive facility will take months, possibly years, depending on the availability of parts and the continuing war conditions. On the Ukrainian side, the price of developing and deploying these advanced drones is far smaller, perhaps only a few $100,000 per unit, a fraction of the damage caused. This cost imbalance is a key factor in modern asymmetric warfare. A single inexpensive drone can cripple billion-dollar infrastructure, proving that technological precision now outweighs traditional power in determining the outcome of modern conflicts. The implications of this strike go far beyond military headlines. It affects global energy prices, international diplomacy, and the psychological landscape of warfare. Russia has prided itself for decades on being an untouchable energy superpower. But this strike shows cracks in that image, literal and symbolic. European and American observers are closely watching how Russia will respond. Some predict retaliatory cyber attacks or intensified missile strikes against Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Others warn that Russia's inability to defend such critical assets may embolden further Ukrainian strikes, particularly if Western countries continue supplying intelligence and long-range components. Meanwhile, within Russia, citizens are growing anxious as more incidents occur within their borders, signaling that the war is no longer confined to distant battlefields but has reached the core of their homeland. Inside Ukraine, the morale boost has been enormous. Images of the burning gas plant circulated widely on social media, with citizens and soldiers celebrating what they call a symbolic victory. It is being portrayed not as an act of aggression but as a message of capability, a demonstration that Ukraine can respond to Russia's bombardments of its cities and power grids. Ukrainian engineers have become national heroes, the faces of a new kind of warfare that values innovation over intimidation. Western allies have also quietly expressed admiration for the technical success, seeing it as proof that their support and technology transfers are yielding tangible results. However, diplomats caution that such deep strikes also carry risks of escalation, potentially provoking Russia into more unpredictable behavior. The conclusion of this entire episode is complex yet clear in its symbolism. The Orenburg strike has changed the dynamics of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It is not just another drone strike, it is a signal that technology and intelligence can overcome size and might. For Russia, it serves as a grim warning that no amount of propaganda or territorial control can guarantee safety within its borders. For Ukraine, it is a powerful example of how resilience and innovation can redefine the limits of defense. The world now stands at the threshold of a new military era where drones are not mere support tools but the main instruments of strategic warfare. This event demonstrates that the nature of war itself has evolved, from ground invasions to precision-led technological duels fought in silence, at night, and with machines guided by human will and artificial intelligence. As we reflect on the aftermath, one thing becomes evident: both nations are entering a stage where defense means adaptation. The battle for the skies, silent, digital, and data-driven, will decide the future of this conflict. The destruction of Russia's largest gas plant in Orenburg is not just a loss of energy infrastructure but a dramatic revelation of vulnerability, ambition, and transformation. The flames that lit up the Russian night may die out, but their impact on the global stage will burn for a long time. This was Global Alert TV, bringing you the most detailed and analytical breakdown of today's biggest story. Stay tuned, subscribe, and keep watching as we continue to follow this developing conflict with facts, insight, and perspective that matters.